Here in Hokkaido, the snow has been coming down pretty hard this year. I've been keeping warm at the cafe next door with the fireplace and coffee. As I've been reflecting on the past year, it's really easy to feel like you haven't achieved much when looking back. I've found that writing out all the things you did last year, the big accomplishments, the goals you achieved, or even the moments that meant the most to you, really helps. And you'll probably realize that you accomplished a lot more than you thought. Journaling is another thing that helps me keep myself mindful of how I'm spending my days. I had been journaling every single day since 2020, but at the beginning of last year, I just stopped because I was focusing on other things, but now I'm gonna pick it up again. To me, journaling is kind of like taking inventory of my day. It helps me realize whether I'm on the right track or not. Up here in the mountains, we've just been skiing so much these past couple weeks. At the beginning of the season, I got new skis, and it's just been so fun trying new paths and techniques. I've really been trying to get into the groove of carving. There was one time I was going so fast that I ended up tumbling and like flipping maybe 2 or 3 times, but somehow everything still stayed attached, so I just got up and kept going. There's been lots of times I've tumbled, but that's the only way you get better. Something I love about skiing is when you're on the slopes, the only thing you're thinking about is what you're doing in the moment. You're not thinking about yesterday or the future. You're completely focused on the present. There's actually been a couple times where I've been taking the lift back up to the top and I've completely forgotten like where I'm at in the world or what day of the week it is because I'm just so focused on skiing. It's the best. So if I'm not skiing, I'm in this forest. This forest just feels like home to me. There's something so grounding about being surrounded by all these big green trees. And this one is my favorite. This tree is the biggest and is surrounded by all the others. I always come up this one, and if I'm quiet enough, sometimes birds will land right next to me. It's so neat to see them that close up. I come out here just to breathe, to listen, and to let the world just slow down. Out here, the noise just fades and everything feels simple again. I just really love climbing up this tree. I took off my coat though before coming up because I didn't want my coat to get sap on it, and it also allows me to move around easier. Although I did bring something else to keep me warm. The first sip of coffee in the morning is the best. I don't think I could think of a better way to spend the morning, but I mean like climbing up a tree, drinking coffee while the sunlight shines on me, like you have to try it. As we step into the new year, my focus is shifting. This year, I'm choosing to trust the process, to focus on not how far I've gone, but on how I spend my time, rather than getting caught up in the outcomes, the things I might gain or achieve. I want to anchor myself this year. Sometimes when we look at goals we're trying to achieve, and we look at how far we've come, it almost can seem like useless to continue or impossible to get there. When the goals feel out of reach, it's easy to get discouraged. But by shifting my attention to the small, intentional steps, the path forward feels clear and more attainable. With patience and time, I believe we can all reach our goals. I've been making a lot of bread lately with the holidays, and today I'm making baguettes. I especially like making baguettes as they're easy to make and they taste good. This recipe actually has me setting the dough out overnight, and while it's not like sourdough, it actually seems to sit better with my stomach than other breads. I've also been drinking a lot of ginger tea lately. I like to add honey and just a little bit of lemon. It's so comforting on snowy days like today. The honey is local and it smells just like summer. It reminds me of all the places I went to last year. Camping was definitely one of my favorite memories. I loved waking up to the sound of the birds chirping with the cold, crisp air and the fog slowly revealing the landscape. It was just so peaceful out there. My favorite part of camping, though, was going out on the boat. It was so quiet out there. The only thing you could hear was the birds and the fish in the water hitting the boat. I even lay down for a little bit and ended up drifting out much further than I ever intended on going, but it was all worth it. That night, I remember the stars were so bright, and I also remember that I positioned my hammock just right to where I could see the moon perfectly. That and hearing the campfire and the trees gently rustle, it was just so calm out there. But honestly, I really like the everyday moments too. Biking through the hills, and there's just something about the fresh air, the rhythm of pedaling that just feels so freeing. And then going to the coffee shop after the hot weather and grabbing an iced coffee. Ah, going to the coffee shop would always make it a great day. Those moments, even though they're small, have a way of just being so meaningful. Oh, and riding a tandem bike with my brother, that's a memory I'm not gonna forget. We laughed so much the whole time that by the end we could barely keep the bike on the path because we were just laughing so hard. The main reason we were laughing so hard on the tandem bike was because when you were sitting in the back, you couldn't steer, but you could move the seat just a little bit of the person sitting in front of you. So sometimes the person in the back, because we would take turns, would move the seat just a little bit and it would throw the balance off completely for the person in front, and then we'd be going one way. So if you're sitting in the back, you could mess with the person in front of you, but at the same time, you're also relying on them not to steer you off the path and crash. We definitely got to do that again. This honey right here that I use in the ginger tea takes me back to this late summer day last year where I was in a garden and I was shooting a video. There was flowers everywhere and there was bees jumping from flower to flower. It was really, really cool to see all of it, and it smelled so good. So now whenever I open up this jar, it always reminds me of that day, and it also reminds me of my childhood. Because it's local honey from here in Hokkaido, it smells just like the summers here. So I've always thought, since the first time I got a jar, that whenever I travel, I'm going to take lots of these jars, even the big ones, load them up in my suitcase because it smells just like home. And it would also make a great gift to give to other people. Anyways, those are just some of my favorite memories from last year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.